Hi guys, welcome to my channel. Today we're talking about basic numeracy Bnu1501 and some of the things that you need to look out for when you're doing this module. So this is going to be the first video that I'm gonna make, and I'm gonna make a series of videos, and yeah, and just a general guide to navigating this module and what the institution of UNISA is requiring from you when you're doing this module in particular. So basically, from the things that I've been asked from my interactions with my students, I came to an understanding that UNISA just wants to test your numerical knowledge, especially for those were who last did high school and all those things, or who didn't do well in maths or something. But it's not really so complicated. It's just like an introductory. But they just want to make sure that before you are thrown into the numbers, you have a rough understanding or a thorough understanding of how the numbers go about and everything. So it's not really a complicated one, but it's a good one to just lay as a fire foundation or a reminder of your numerical capabilities. So for this module, they prescribe two financial calculators. There's the HP and there's also the Sharp calculator. Those calculators are pretty important because you're gonna need them throughout the course of your studies, depending on which program that you're doing, because most people will do this program, those will be doing accounting, those will be doing taxation, management accounting, economics. You can see this module introduced, but that is the brief background. They just want to check and see numerically are you sound and is everything okay there. So it has one study guide which is available, I think, on Telegram or available on their websites, and you see the direction that they're going with my UNISA. They're splitting some of the things. They're splitting the chapters, trying to interact, and a whole bunch of stuff. So there's only one study guide which is available, and you just have to make sure that you get the study guide and you get going with it. Another disadvantage is it's a disadvantage to this is most of the things is explained in English. So with English as a medium of communication and Afrikaans for other select students, of course, is the mode of communication, you tend to find that students struggle not because of uh, they don't know BNU per se, but because of the English requirement. So because it's taught in English, it becomes a bit difficult to comprehend. But what they're trying to teach, it had been taught probably in a different, maybe vernacular or other, it would have been much more simpler and less complicated to understand. But because it's English, so trying to explain it in English, it tends to be a big barrier to understanding this module. But it's not that hectic if you are to give it time. It's not that hectic if you are to give it time. It kicks off with a brief a brief requirement of finding out what are numbers. Basically, there are numbers, they are counting numbers. What are your integers? What are your positive integers? Your counting numbers, your non-negative integers, and a whole lot of stuff. So you just have to, it's like mainly a reminder per se. Probably you will, even if you're not so confident in maths, it doesn't automatically mean that you're not gonna do well in this module. It just simply means that they just want to see what is your level of understanding when it comes to the subject. So the first chapter, it's not so complicated, and as you progress through the programs, you won't be doing much of this, but it usually is an introductory for or a foundation that they give for DSC, which is going to be the next module. Once you pass this one, then they give you DSCs. DSCs are a bit challenging sometimes, but you just have to give it time. Give it time with the BNU, then you're not going to have problems and struggles as you go by. So I also got a question from one of the students, that is it worth investing in those financial calculators that they'll be selling because of price? It is very, very important that you get the financial calculators that they prescribe, you're going to be using that calculator throughout. I'll speak mainly for accounting students who are going to be doing accounting. So you'd be doing this module in your first year. Get acquainted with the financial calculator. You're still going to use that calculator when you're calculating interest rates, calculating bonds, calculating leases, and all those things, fair values, calculating a whole lot of things. You would need the calculator. And as an introduction, it would be a good thing to start with it. I know for some you're using scientific calculators, or like the one that I have here. It was just from another class that I was doing. These calculators don't really help much in your studies because some of the questions, it's actually faster to do, what do you call it, to do the module if you're going to be using the correct calculator and which one you're going to get used to. So preferably I use the HP, but the Sharp was also good. And is also good for this in case you have the Sharp, the one that they prescribe here. Even if you find it someone saying they're selling second hand, the batteries tend to finish, but they're not so costly. So you definitely are gonna need those calculators as you continue down this module and continuing on with what they'll be saying here. So yeah, as an introductory, that's what I wanted to say, that it's just a module that tries to get you warmed up for maths, tries to get you familiarizing with your calculator, tries to get you warmed up in and just testing your numerical ability. But it's very, very much advisable to give it a good shot. And if it is confusing you or you require tutorials in that regard, my number is in the comment or in the bio. You can drop me a message and we can definitely interact there, and we can continue and get in depth into the numbers and what they'll be talking about from the first chapter all the way until you become comfortable with it. Because there's a lot of people who have a phobia, like you just passed maths, maybe you failed maths, or it just didn't go well for you. You can always drop a message, you can always send a WhatsApp, and we can always arrange classes. We do the classes, you get the knowledge that is required, then you become more confident as you are going to be going. But for today, just understand with BNU, it's not a complicated one, but it's one that you have to try and make sure that you understand. Once you understand it, the doors that will be opened afterwards are going to be, it's going to be easier for you to use your calculator. It's going to be easier for you to understand, even when you're given problems, be it in accounting, be it wherever. You want to have a difficulty probably understanding an accounting concept, but you also don't want to be defeated at maybe trying to calculate or usage. For instance, when I was doing a module when UNISA was still offering classes face to face before COVID, we had a lecturer who actually would say, if you don't get the financial calculator, don't come to class. So at first we thought it was being harsh, got the calculator, but when I attended and did the sessions with him with the calculator, it made sense. Learning a calculator is going to save you a lot of time. It is going to minimize mistakes, and you will be using that calculator until the batteries die, start again, you get new ones, they'll die again. And it is something that is going to be very, very helpful. But it's a module that it mustn't terrify you, it mustn't scare you. And the things that they're going to be talking about, some are new things, but most of the things you're going to find are going to be reminders. And remember to send a WhatsApp message and enroll for tutorials, like, share, subscribe. Thank you.